Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 9 of Field. I hope you all have had a really great, relaxing week and took the time to really practice some self-care. I know it felt good for me to have a little break as well, so I hope you guys enjoyed your week off from class. So we're back in the swing of things in week 9, and we are going to have our live field discussion on Wednesday. I will be available, and I have one student who has RSVP'd thus far, but really would love for more students to sign up if their schedule sees fit. So I will look out for your email by at least by noon tomorrow to make sure we can have field on Wednesday. So great. So you only really have one assignment that is due this week, and that is your discussion post. So this week you're going to discuss, the community that your agency is a part of. So how does this community impact your agency, your clients, your work as a social work intern, and what macro skills do you see necessary to respond to these community influences? And so I can give you just an example of the work that I do just to get the wheels rolling. So I work as a director of a mental health program for students in the Christina School District who just can't thrive in a traditional setting and just need something more. And so because Wilmington, Delaware right now is having a huge influx of gang violence and gun violence in the community, many of my students have been victims to gun violence or witnessed gun violence in the community. So that it has impacted how we do our individual counseling sessions, our group sessions, because they have to be more trauma focused and more trauma informed. And we have to be able to process that with our students and our families. So being aware of what's going on in the community and how many of our students and their families may be unfortunately struggling because of that. And so some of the macro issues have a lot to do with, poverty, people coming back from prison who just haven't been rehabilitated properly. I mean, there's so many issues on a macro level that have to be deconstructed before we can kind of maneuver through these issues. So there's a lot that plays into gangs and violence and things like that. And so just this idea of feeling part of, right? And so, most people join gangs. Even if you talk to people who have been gang members or currently gang members, it's a sense of security, right? Something that they're not getting from their families or their communities that they need. So, just unfortunately, sometimes they get a bad rap because of the things that they typically indulge in. So that's just an idea. So that initial post is due this Thursday by 11:59, and you want to make sure that you respond to one of your peers by this Sunday by 11:59. And what you want to do is you want to comment on your peers' assessment of how the community impacts the agency and the client in turn, and are there similarities with your own agency? Do you have any observations that you would want to share as a way to encourage your peer to look at the situation differently? So you want to have that response to your peer by Sunday at 11:59. And so the other couple things that I just want you guys to keep track of is that although we're in week 9, by the end of week 14, your second process recording is due. So if you want to begin to think about that or just be mindful of as you're, in field to have your field instructor look at your process recordings and sign off on them in time, I would definitely make sure you're thinking about that. The other thing is you want to make sure that you are keeping up with your peer-to-peer field discussions. So if you've been attending many of the live field discussions, I do make a note of who's attending. So you will get credit for those. So if you've attended, 3 live field discussions thus far, you may only have to do 2 written peer-to-peer discussions, right? So we still have a couple more weeks left, but I just wanted you guys to be mindful of that to make sure that you're keeping up with that. So other than that, we have a pretty light week. I know I've been meeting with many of you guys and your field instructors, and I'm really impressed on the work that you guys are doing in the field. So keep up the great work. If you guys are in need of anything at all, please let me know, and I will talk to you soon. All right, bye.